Hey, what's up everybody? It's Matt from 9 Day Performance back with another video. Today's video is focused on the fuel system for the Dodge Challenger and Charger Hellcats. This is something that we want to upgrade most of the time when we're doing boost. As far as adding more boost, if we're putting larger fuel injectors, running E85. While the factory Hellcat fuel system is a very, very efficient fuel system that works very well, sometimes you have to get to a point where you have to upgrade it. But the good thing about these is you don't have to do necessarily a full return style system just to push those 4-digit numbers that you're looking for on ethanol. When I say ethanol, I'm meaning E85. To do that, you need a kit. You can get one from 4 Innovations, or you can use Tap Performance. I'll leave a link down in the description of where you can purchase these exact systems on our website, www.nightandayperformance.com. We sell these systems and they work great. These systems are a lot better for your DIY type deal because basically what Tap did is they took the 4 Innovations kit that you would normally get and they made it more user friendly. By doing so, they added things like pigtails and butt connectors and instructions that tell you how to install the kits, when 4 does not do that. 4 doesn't do that because they want these installed by professional shops, which I always recommend. I always recommend you get it done by a professional, but hey, we all started somewhere, even the guys that are in this industry like I am, where we wanted to work on our own cars and we fully support it. Tap Performance has made something that is basically plug and play, and he has full instructions on how to install your new fuel system in your vehicle, and he even goes to the depth of putting pictures on the instructions for those of us that want to see it. So what is this behind me? It's the stage 1.5 fuel system from Tap Performance. It's the double hat system. So your factory Hellcat fuel system has twin 285 pumps, which are pumping out what are supposed to be 525 liters per hour. That is the free flow rate. At 40 psi, they're actually only pumping out around 470 liters per hour. So there's a big difference there. With the 4 Innovation systems that you get, especially with this one from Tap, you get twin 295 pumps that at 40 psi will pump out 525 liters per hour. So you're getting a better flow, a better volume for your fuel system that can get up to the front of your motor. The great thing about these kits between 4 and Tap Performance is if you want to go even further and push your car to the limits, it's very easy to do so because you can upgrade these kits. You can go from a dual pump to a dual pump return system to a triple pump return system. Whatever your needs are, they are upgradable, and Rick Taft and his team will help you do that. If you want us to help you, we can also do that as well, and we can get you the kit that you need sent right to your door. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go behind me and I'm going to show you what you can expect out of the Tap Performance kit when you order it from us, or if you order it directly from Rick Tap, right out of the box, and show you what you have in here. Let's go ahead and zoom in behind me to our kit and get it unboxed. Alright, so here we have our kit from Tap Performance. When you open it up, it's going to look just like this. You're going to have your bubble wrap. Everything's going to be wrapped up nicely. You're going to have a beautiful wiring harness here that has plug and play connectors, so you don't have to do any of the guesswork and try to figure out how to wire all these together, as you can see here. Some of these are on the 4 systems, but a lot of them are not. You get a brand new fuel pump control module with Chrysler part numbers on them. This is not some Chinese knockoff. This is a Mopar part. So you're paying for quality. And of course you'll get what Rick Tap sends, which are instructions for how to do the install. But he tells you to reference his site because he does update his kits. He does want to make sure you have the most updated information. So he goes ahead and sends you what you need on the website. So on the link there, you can actually find what you need. Underneath all of our wrap here, we're going to have a very nice package. This is not drugs, but it could be drugs to some people like us who are addicted to octane and going fast. This here is your fuel pump. I didn't bring a knife, so I'll rip it open and make it look all crazy. So, let's see. Carefully. Alright. So here are our new fuel pumps and our hat assembly from 4 Innovations. It's a plug and play system. So this is something you can put on without having to do all the crazy stuff. And it actually works with your factory fuel system. So unlike the other ones that have the AN fittings and all up top, You don't have to use AN lines on these, but the ones that you do have, you know, they went ahead and put all your connectors right here that connect right to your factory fuel system. So there's no guesswork behind that. What you're also going to see here, if you look at the top, I'm not sure if the camera can pick this up, you'll see what's feed and return, what looks like the return system. It's because, like I said, these are fully upgradable. You can change this out, you can add a triple pump setup instead of the double pump. You can do a return style system on the same setup without buying everything all over again. So there's nothing wrong with throwing this in your car now and upgrading it later on down the line. So that's basically what you get. It's a very simple kit. If you've ever installed anything from 4 Innovations before, you'll see you'll get very similar products. The problem is it's very, very hard to know how to install them unless you know how to do it already. They don't send you instructions, and if you look on their site or if you call them, they're going to tell you that you need to contact somebody that's an authorized installer for them, or somebody that has experience with fuel systems. That's because they want to make sure that it's done right, because you are messing with fuel. I do strongly encourage you guys to do your research, and if you decide to take this task on by yourself, be very, 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 very careful. This is a fuel system that you're working with. Losing fuel pressure can damage the motor. If you have a line that comes off somewhere, you can have a fuel leak. When you're putting these seals on, make sure everything's sealed. You have to make sure it's done right, because fuel is very dangerous. But that's enough talking about the system that we have here. It's very beautiful, very nicely packaged. What we're going to do now is we're going to go over to our car that we're building. It's known as Baby Demon. You might have seen in the other videos that we did, we just built a brand new engine for it. So what it has is it has the Flying Ryan Performance FRP drop-in pistons and rods. It has a FRP Titan 2 cam kit with all of the upper end upgraded. So you got new valve springs, you got new gaskets, you got new push rods, everything you need for the cam kit. It's got brand new lifters, Hellcat lifters. It is a Hellcat. All it is non-MDS lifters that are OEM. So we have all of that upgraded. And if you haven't seen that video, I'll leave that link down in the description as well, as I fully assembled that motor. And we paired that with the Simple Speed and Performance transmission. This transmission is a great option for all the guys that want all the power and have all the fun and have some reassurance that you have a strong transmission that's behind you. It's not necessarily going to grenade itself whenever you go and actually hammer on the throttle. So, like I said, those are options as well. On our website, you can get the transmissions there. You can get the FRP drop-in pistons and rods there. You can get the cam kits there. You can get the fuel systems there. And we're adding new products daily. We sell for over 300 different brands. So if there's something you're looking for that you don't see on the website, feel free to just call us, shoot us a message, and we'll make sure we get back to you and get you what you need, no matter where you are in the country. And if you're not in Texas and you want your car built by the best, all you have to do is give us a call. We can help you with transportation from anywhere in the United States to bring your car right here to our shop and back to your door. You don't even have to leave your house. And for some people that say, I'm a little weary because I want to see the stuff going on with my car. I want to know what's going on. You can contact our customers in the past, and as you can see from this video and the YouTube that we've started to do now, every car that comes in here, we record, we take pictures, we send them to the customers even before we upload it on YouTube, so they get to see their build as it's progressing. They get to see what's going on with their car, and you can call us at any point during the build and say, hey, I want to see what my car looks like, all ripped apart, all put back together. At whatever stage it's in, you can call us. We'll show you exactly what's going on. We don't hide anything in the shop. And if you're ever in the area and you are in Houston and you want to get your build done, you can stop by at any point during your build, come check out your vehicle while it's on the lift, tore apart, while the engine's ripped apart. And if you want to ask questions and learn some stuff about your car and what we're doing to it, we're always open to show you that, because like I said, this shop is more geared towards being friendly with the customers and learning the build process, because you need to know your build just as much as we do. We want you to make sure that you know what you have going in your car, so you're not going to some random place that's going to throw a whole bunch of stuff in your car that you don't need, or that's going to tell you you're getting a top of the line cam kit and throwing Chinese stuff in your car, and then you have to bring it back to us later on whenever you take it from their shop because your car's not working right. Avoid the headaches, avoid the hassle, send it to Night and Day Performance, and we'll get you taken care of. But for further ado, we're going to jump over to the car. We're going to show you how to install this system right here on this channel. Let's get into it. All right, so we're back over with the car. You're gonna go ahead and pull out your harnesses that you have with the kit. This is your harness that's gonna run over to your fuel pumps. This is your main harness that you're gonna need in a separate bag, so it's gonna come together. We're gonna go ahead and open that one, sit this one off to the side. And you're gonna identify the different portions of the harness just so you get familiar with it. So as you see here on the TAP kits, you already have everything labeled. Battery positive. Here, this is your ground. And then you have your control portions of the harness, which are what come. This is what you're going to use on the kit to basically for the fuel pump control modules. Now it has a Y harness that you have to make it work correctly. So first thing you're going to do is come over to the car, and you're going to want to pull out the trunk mat. As you see, I've already done so. You just lift up here, slide that out of the way, and then over here in the corner, you're going to want to take this side off because that's where the fuel pump control module actually lives. So you're going to have a little screw right here. You can take off by hand. Some of them have a little pop down here at the bottom or a screw, some don't. You're going to have little push pins. There's one there, one there. That's going to give you access to your fuel pump control module, which is right over here. So your fuel pump control module is going to be right there. As you can see, we're going to add a second one there. So it has two of them that are going to be controlling the pumps. All right, so what you're going to do now at this point, once you've located where your fuel pump control module is, you have this torn apart where you can see and get to things, is you're going to go ahead and start getting the wiring harness installed. To do so, you're going to need a 10mm socket because you're going to have to remove the positive that's on your fuse box, the PDC, or power distribution unit, or PDU, I'm sorry. We're going to unplug the fuel pump control module, and we're going to start getting the wiring routed up towards where the fuel pumps are under the back seat. Then I'm going to show you guys how to get the fuel pumps out as far as the factory units and get the new ones put in. Let's go ahead and get into this, and I'll let you sit here while I do this so you can kind of see as I go along the process. All right, so we're in the trunk. Your first step down here is going to be, of course, disconnect your battery. Your negative terminal is your number one way to do that. You can disconnect the positive too if you want, not required. This right here, if you guys don't know, this little tube right here is important on your batteries. This is a breather vent tube, which is not hooked up. I guess they got disconnected at some point. So you want to make sure you get those plugged in. Looks like this one was never plugged in. So it doesn't even fit where it goes. So when you get your batteries replaced, make sure that these go back in where they're supposed to. Like that. There we go. What that does is if you have an issue with your battery, if it starts swelling or anything like that, instead of those chemicals going back up into your car, it vents it outside the car. So make sure that that's done. Down here is what you call the PDU, power distribution unit. And you're going to see here there's a 10mm that's on top of that that we're going to need to remove for our new harness from TAP. So we're going to take that off. It is a 10. We're going to grab our harness, our main harness here. If I don't knock the camera over while I do it. We're going to locate the battery plus right here. That one is going to go right on top on your power distribution unit. And you can normally route them in a way where they'll run side by side and you don't have to do any extra trimming. Excuse my allergies making me sniffle. Just like that. Now we're going to route our harness and all this goodness. I'm going to go under here because of where I want to go with it for the neatness effect. So route all those wires underneath there. Now this here, you're going to go to the back wall which at this point you can go ahead and make sure this fits. So we'll sit this right on top of there. You shouldn't have to do any trimming as far as getting this to fit afterwards. Just like that, fits into your positive. Now on the back wall, you're going to want to secure this here. So you can do it right down to there. And TAP Performance Kit also comes with the screws that you need. So this is going to be one of the smaller screws that we're going to use. Which I'm pretty sure, there it goes. One of the shorter ones will work. Which, yeah, so it's an 8mm. If you want to use a socket, you can use a socket. We're going to screw this right into the back wall, low enough that it doesn't interfere with anything. To give you a better view, I'll take this off. It's not required to stay here. If these push pins weren't built by the strongest man possible, Jesus Christ. It might have been actually built by Jesus Christ, I don't know. That out of the way so we can see a little better in here. So right down here below this vent is a nice little flat spot that you can use to secure this. Just like that. Just secure it out of the way. And we're going to route the rest of the harness behind here, and then we're going to locate on the other side where our relay is. There's going to be a ground, so I'm going to untangle all of this first. Like I said, sorry for the sniffles. My allergies are horrible. So you're going to see this one, it's a ground. Where this ground is going to go is right here, which is also a 10. So to get to the 10mm that's down there, it's easiest if you have a 10mm wobble socket like that. Get them Snap-on, Harbor Freight, wherever. Like that. And then we'll use cable ties later on to clean all of this up. So now we're going to come over here. Plug in the side with pump 1 attached to it. So I might set it a little wrong. So the side here is going to plug into here just like this. This portion of the harness is right beside it is going to plug into the factory plug for the fuel pump control module. And then this portion here is going to get routed over to pump 1. And then we're going to plug up this other side after we install our new fuel pump control module. Alright, so what we're going to do now is we're going to go ahead and get our fuel pump control module mounted in the Challenger trunk. So if you can see here, over here in the corner, that is where the fuel pump control module is located. And what we're going to do is we're going to do similar to what the Hellcat Red Eye does. So we're going to take this 10mm off, we're going to take the push pin off, we're going to turn it around so this faces up. And we're going to mount the other one below it facing down to utilize this space the best way possible. So that, pull that one just as such. We're going to swap these there. I'm going to go ahead and plug this one in now, just because of the way it's mounted. I'll pull this out so I can get some more room. I don't need this tie anymore.
back in. If you've ever seen the red-eye trucks, this is very similar to how they're mounted. They're mounted away from each other. So just reverse that one. Just like that. Just be careful not to go too tight. Don't want to put too much tension on that plug. Alright. So just like that. I'm going to route this down here. Now we're going to take this fuel pump control module and we're going to mount it here. So I'm going to use the existing hole that's right here for a push pin, and then I'm going to use a self tapper on the opposite side. So right now I'm going to go grab something to pull it out real quick and a push pin. So I went and grabbed a few push pins. I have an arrangement. Get them off Amazon, parts store, whatever you want. Now I'm going to go ahead and get this old one pulled out. They used to hold the harness here. Just like all the push pins in this car, they're very strong. Alright, so now I'm going to take my fuel pump control module on the right side here. And that one works. Alright, so that factory hole doesn't really line up the way I like it. So instead, I'm just going to use 2 of the self tappers. Use 2 self tappers and get that mounted so it looks better. Just for the sake of them being even. If you want to mount it that way, you can. If you want to drill less holes, I don't like the way that looks. And as an aesthetic person, I want it to look a certain way. Those screws line up perfectly, so it's good. What's that hard? Just like that. Of course, I mounted it off kilter a little bit, but it will be okay. For those that say, oh, I don't want to drill holes in my car, probably shouldn't be modifying it then. That gets it there. Now our other plug can go here. Hooks in. Alright. Grab the bolt that I dropped earlier. And I dropped it again, of course. Your stuff does not have to go in this orientation or location. This is just where I want to put it. You can put it wherever you feel that you like it. Just like that. It's done. So, yes, you do have some extra wiring here. Go ahead and move that one that I had earlier on there, the ground, put the other one where it goes. So there's 2 grounds, not one like I originally said. Both grounds are going to go together and then go right on top of here. Sorry for that little mix-up earlier. I installed so many of these systems that they're all slightly different. And we're going to turn those wires to the side so that once it's on, they're out of the way. Now what I'll do is I'm going to follow this harness that's already here in the factory. And I'm going to zip tie as much of this wiring as I can to keep it clean. All right, so now we've got fuel pump control modules, our relay mounted. Our wiring here is pretty much routed the way it should be. We're gonna go ahead and move this here, which is our fuel pump plug. And all the rest of these can be beautified and made to look better, look nicer. So we're gonna go from this side. We're gonna use the zip ties provided by TAP. If I need more, I'll grab some more. We're gonna start cleaning up this harness. All right, and now that we have, as you can see, all of our wiring is cleaned up. We have our 2 fuel pump ends that are gonna run up to our fuel pump that's under the rear seats. Now we have to take the rest of our harness from TAP, which is right here. We're gonna unplug these from each other. They're plugged into themselves. And get them lined out and get them facing the right direction. So I need these in. And TAP makes it really easy because it's labeled pump 2 or pump 1. So we're gonna plug pump 1 here into pump 1 there. And then pump 2, we're gonna plug into pump 2. Just like that. And we're gonna go ahead and get the rest of this wiring, and we're gonna route it up to the front of the car. So to do that, we're just gonna go underneath all of this right here, and we're gonna run it along with our positive right here. So all of our positive and cables, will run it up there, and then it'll go right underneath the seat up towards the front. So now I'm gonna go ahead and get up towards the front, and I'll meet you guys up there. We're gonna go ahead and start getting the actual fuel pumps installed and get them plugged into the other end of this harness. All right, so now we're inside the car. If you guys have never done so before and you're trying to figure out where your fuel pumps are on your Dodge Challengers, this is the same on the Chargers. They're in the same location. It's very easy. You thought I was going underneath the car, you're wrong. They're inside the car. Now, I will stress to you, when you do this process that I'm about to do, I'm going to do it the DIY method. There is a tool to take the fuel pumps loose. I'm going to show you how to do it without that tool so that you can do it at home as well. When you're doing this, make sure you have fans running. Make sure if you're in your garage, you have the door open. You need plenty of ventilation because you're dealing with fuel, especially when you're running into certain race fuels like, you know, Q16, stuff like that. If you open that up and you're not well ventilated, you're gonna pass out in here. You're gonna have to have somebody come help you out and everything. It's a whole scene. Just do the right thing. And what I always tell people, when you're working with fuel, it's good to have a fire extinguisher nearby. I have one right outside the door. I don't plan on having any sparks in here, but just in case something were to happen, I want to make sure I have a way to put out any fires that I may have. So to get this seat out, you're gonna have to take 9 million bolts out. No, I'm just kidding. It's very simple. It's one of the easiest things you're gonna do in this whole process. You're gonna grab right here under this seat and pull up. Boom, that pops up. Other side, same thing. Pulls up. You see that? It pops out. That's out the way. So I sat that outside the door now. Now you should be able to see here, I have this little flap. I have some sort of Olive Garden milk chocolate. It's not supposed to be in here. So we're gonna pull this back. Right here is where your fuel pump is located. It's on this side, on the driver's side. So you're gonna grab it, pop that loose, pop that loose, and underneath here there's a connector. I'm gonna bring you guys in so you can see where I'm working a little closer. All right, now that you're in the car with me, you won't be able to see my face, but you can see what I'm doing, and that's the main thing anyways. Nobody came here to see Matt's face. So you're gonna take a screwdriver, you're gonna pop this loose. As you can see, I'm going towards the passenger side. Once all of one side is hidden, push the bottom, slide that off. So here is your controller. Now we need to get this off. Now the way to get this off, we're gonna twist this and pop it loose. Now this right here, we don't need anymore per se, but don't throw it away yet. You're gonna need a part of it, but we're not gonna be plugging this back in. So what you're gonna need now is a big flathead. When I say big, I'm meaning like wide right there, and a mallet. Now you're gonna see on here there's these little notches that are made for a specialty tool to lock into, and you got a big ratchet and he turns and unlocks it. A lot of people don't have that, so I'm going to show you how to do it without that. So you see here on the farther side, on the driver's side, you're going to take this screwdriver and you're going to go in one of those notches just like this, and you're going to hit towards the opening like that. Make sure you don't hit the tank. Okay. Now, it's going to take some force to do it. Like that. And then this ring comes off. Well, it's supposed to come off. It doesn't want to move right now because my hands are too big for the hole. Alright. As you saw, there was force. It just popped up. So that's out of the way. Now we have our fuel system. And I know the camera can't smell it, but we have lots of fuel in here, which is not good because now we have to siphon all this fuel out because we're putting E85 in this tank, not 93. So I'm gonna slowly, carefully pop that off like that. I'm gonna unplug this. And I'm gonna put that outside. It's strong in here. Now, right here, you're gonna see a hose coming this way. You're gonna need to disconnect that. That runs over to your sending unit. So we're gonna take that and disconnect it. Now remember this hose for later on. You're gonna need to reconnect that hose. Do not forget to reconnect that hose. So it can be a bit of a pain sometimes to get this loose, because it is in a fuel tank. So believe it or not, it can be a pain even though it's in a liquid. All right, so I got that loose. So now I'm gonna work that up. Hey, Cam, can you hand me a bucket of some sort? Have somebody help you and grab a bucket so you can put this in so you don't spill fuel. It doesn't matter. Oil drain pan works too. I'm gonna hand you this in just a second. Wiggle, wiggle, wiggle. Don't pass out. There's two hoses. There's another hose right there, a little black hose. Get that out. Now the fun part becomes of finessing it out of the hole. You're gonna need to reuse some of this, so don't just snatch it out of the hole. There we go. That's your factory fuel pump. Cam, can you grab this?
You want me to take that?
Yep. Thank you, sir. All right, so now at this point we are as far as we can go with the fuel system, as far as getting everything out for the pumps. Now we have to get it ready for us to get the new pumps installed. But first I want to get this 93 octane out because we're putting E85 in. If you don't have one of these, you can grab one. It's a liquid transfer pump that you can get from Harbor Freight for about 13 bucks. It's very, very useful. It works very well, and I've used it for race fuels and all. It takes 2 D batteries, pop it in there, turn it on, pumps, I think it's 6 quarts a minute or something like that. So let's go ahead and get it pumped out. Now, of course, I'm pumping this into a another gas can that's right underneath the camera that you can't see. So I'm not just pumping it onto the floor. All right, so as you can see here, I have my factory fuel pump out of the Hellcat, and like I said earlier, you're gonna have to be careful with it because you need certain parts off of it. What you need is your fuel level sending unit, which tells your vehicle how much fuel you have in it. So if you ever have a car where you're driving randomly and all of a sudden it says you're on E when you're just on a full tank, usually it's something with your sending unit or the sensor, which is this number right here. This float basically goes up when it's full, it goes down when it's empty, and if this goes bad, you can replace them or you can replace the entire fuel pump. So to do this, what we're going to do is we're going to cut in the middle of this harness that we see here so that we can reuse it if ever in the future we needed to reuse this pump. This pump is still good and it could be an upgrade for somebody else that might want it. So we're going to save that. So we're going to cut here right in the middle of the harness, the two gray wires. Like that. And then you're going to, there's a little tab here that's holding it. Push that down and slide this off. This is the piece that you need to transfer over to the 4 system to make sure you know how much fuel you still have in your vehicle after you put this new pump in. Alright, so let's get back in the car and I'm going to show you how to put this on your hat. Alright, so we're back in the car and I have my 4 pump system. So right here, you're going to see this little metal piece. This is where you're going to mount your sending unit as such. So basically it'll slide in there. And this will now work just like the factory system did. Okay, so you're gonna have to strip these wires back, and then on the side of the 4 system, you'll see here there's another set of wires that you're gonna have to do. So what I will tell you to do to make it easier, sometimes these don't really matter, but when you take this off, look at the pinout on where the on the actual new fuel, the old fuel pump is. Look at the pinout and see where each wire is and match them up with the wires that you're putting on. So on these. So match them up and see which one goes where. Hook them up there just so you do it the same way it was from the factory. No chance of having a problem even if it doesn't matter. So to do that, like I said, we're going to take this off. We're going to mount that there. And I have Allen's here. I wasn't sure exactly what size, so I brought a couple sets. Because bolts are known to change sometimes. So let's see here. And that one does work. That is a size 2.5. So the ones I'm taking off are the ones on the sliding portion of the bracket. Now the next part, getting the fuel pumps in. So it seems like you could just drop these in, but you can't. Not really. First of all, this little portion right here, make sure it's facing forward. Whenever you pull the hat out, the factory hat, you want to pay attention to where this float is. And this float was residing right over there, so we're going to put it back in the same manner. If you do it like this, something's going to hit on the tank and it won't let it go up, and you're always going to think you're empty. Same with if you do it that way. So you have to do it this direction because that's where the float actually sits, and there's a little recessed portion. If you feel in the tank right over there, the recessed portion where it can fill fuel up to here. So that's where that goes. It goes like that. So it goes up and down right over here in this corner. But when you're hooking this up, the hard part is, so you have here that you're supposed to hook or connect in. You have here that you have to put the other portion on and screw this on. You can't just drop it in there. For that, you're going to need to take the top portion of the hat loose, loosen that, sit this down in there, then connect these, and then screw the top back on. You're not going to be able to just unscrew these and rescrew them. That's why Tap Performance provides longer screws that you can put in at least 2 of these holes before you take them all out to drop it down. So that once it's down there, you can use those screws to reach down there and thread them back in if you need to unthread them, and grab the pump and pull it up to put the rest of the screws in. Yeah, so see right here, it just tells you instructions on top. I was just seeing what it said. So let me grab those screws real quick. Make sure you don't bend this right here, because then it'll throw your fuel levels off. You won't know how much fuel you have. Let me grab those screws real quick. In the same packaging that all those zip ties came in, and that's what they look like. So we're gonna take those. Make sure you take time to step out of the car every once in a while, because even if you're ventilated, you can still get pretty high in here on these fumes. It's not good for you. So now we're going to take these loose. Now when you take these loose, be very careful, because there are gaskets inside. Those gaskets are very, very crucial to making sure your fuel pump seals. If it doesn't seal, you're going to have issues with flow. So if you ever connect a system like this and you're not getting fuel up to the front of the rails, even though you hear the pumps running, most often than not, it's because your seals are not fully seated in here for the pumps. So you see I just took the two middle ones out, thread in the longer ones. They don't have to be singed down or tight, just thread them in by hand. And take out the rest of them. You can already feel it lifting. If you start having the seals fall out, one thing you can do is use a little bit of like dielectric grease, and you can actually put it on the seals so that they sit where they're supposed to sit. And just the fact that it's a little thicker will help with holding it where it's supposed to be. All right, screw out. And now with that, as you can see, the pump separates from the rest of it. So you can unspin this. This doesn't need to be spun up. So that's what that's for. Now most of the time you're not going to be able to fit in this little area here, so you can unscrew these. You're just going to have to remember the orientation of the pump when you're doing it. And you can use these later on to start the threads back in the bottom of the pump once you have it installed. This is one thing that I've always hated about the 4 systems, is trying to get these two together. So there we go. As you see, here's our gaskets, which if you leave them alone, usually they stay. But I always double check, because just like that, we're missing one. And it fell right in the tank where it normally falls. So one already fell out. So make sure they're all there. Very, very, very important. If you have fuel in your tank, it makes this even harder. So now you're going to feed the bottom portion in, like such. What you don't want it to do is fall too far. So if you didn't drain your tank, if you're going to be playing in a bath of fuel right now, I highly, highly, highly recommend gloves. Otherwise, it gets pretty messy trying to do this. Now remember earlier that tube that you disconnected that I told you to remember, it's going to be down here, and you're going to have to reach in here and find it. Once you do find it, you guessed it, you got to go inside and plug it in down in the tank. Go. And just click. Make sure you feel the click. Do a nice tug on it. Make sure it's not going to come loose, because this connects over to your sending unit or your transfer pump. Now that that one's on, you have the other one right beside it that gets held on with an Allen key, and that also you have to do in the tank. Requires using Very small Allen keys. Allen wrenches, Allen keys, whatever you want to call them. Loosen it. You don't have to take it off. You just need that bracket to move. And then you're going to take the other little plastic hose that's...
Alright, so at this point, unfortunately, my camera has died, but all you're going to do is finish connecting the two hoses that you disconnected from your main fuel pump from the factory. Once you get those connected, you're going to sit this down in the tank, and the way you took the locking cap off, you're going to basically just lock it back the opposite direction. So you're going to sit it in, turn it to where it's as tight as you can turn it by hand. Then you're going to take your flathead or your crowbar, whatever you want to use, and your hammer, and you're going to knock it back until it can't move anymore because it's going to be flush up against it. Once you get that completed, you will need to connect pump 1 and 2, as you can see on the top of the fuel pump, to the harnesses that you ran under the seat. Put the seat back in where it came out of, snap everything back in place. Then you're going to want to go to the trunk and finish cleaning up your wires, making sure everything's nice and neat. And that's pretty much it for this install. If you haven't done so already, make sure you subscribe to the channel. We look forward to you guys on the next one.